Jagrata, Jai Masters. Sometimes it's very helpful to step back and get a decent perspective, because we all get lost, not even in the everyday, in the minute-to-minute stuff that's going on in our lives. You can't get anywhere that way. There's always something that is going to be going on. Relationships, finance, work, anything, everything, politics. There's always something going on. And I've explained to you many times, there's way more going on than you have any idea. Because the only thing you have an idea of what's going on is that which enters your consciousness. Otherwise, you know nothing about it. You have no idea what's going on Mars. You have no idea what's going on Saturn. You have no idea what's going on in a galaxy far, far away. And it was 99.99999999999% you know nothing that's going on. And yet you can't even handle the minuscule amount that enters your consciousness. First of all, do you see how small it is? Okay. So getting perspective is to step back and realize that all the time, that I'm just experiencing a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of what is going on. It's so tiny I can't even call it a fraction of what's going on, and I can't handle that. I get intense, I get upset, I get anxious, I get judgmental, I get angry, I get needy, I get whatever. There's always something going on that's making me be weird. Fair enough. Okay? And it's like, it's funny, the great ones say there's no difference between love and hate. They're just two polar opposites of the same force. It's very difficult to understand unless you realize if you are very disappointed with something and you hate somebody, you get weird. If you're madly in love with somebody, you can't be without them, you get weird. What does it mean to get weird? I can't handle what's going on. I have fallen in love with you, and I want to be with you, and I can't be with you. I'm freaky. All right? I can't stand you anymore, and I don't want to come home, and I'm freaking out having to come home because you're there. I'm freaky. And so you realize, I'm just caught. I'm caught. What are you caught in? What you're caught in is that there's always going to be a moment unfolding in front of you. That's the nature. It's been going on for 13.8 billion years all over the universe. There's things happening. It's a happening place. Okay? And a tiny little bit of it happens in front of you. And then another, and then another. But you miss, I like when people say, I don't miss anything. Do you have any idea how much you're missing? Every single moment you miss absolutely everything. But what happens is, a moment unfolds in front of you, that's reality. It comes in, that's reality. You're a conscious being inside, experiencing the moments unfolding in front of you. Can you handle that? That's what you are. You're not Sally or George or somebody's husband or wife. You're a conscious being inside that is receiving the moment that's unfolding in front of you. And you can't handle that. You get all anxious, you need Prozac and pills and things, and you need all kinds of stuff. All right, so the beginning of understanding how to live a decent life, because that's not a decent life. If you can't handle this tiny little bit that's happening in front of you, that you happen to see in the paper, that you happen to see driving down the road, that you happen to see happen at work, or somebody says something to you, you can't handle it. Be honest. You can't handle what people say to you. A lot of times. You can't handle what people don't say to you. A lot of times. You can't handle it. You got a little blemish underneath your chin that no one can see. A lot of times. It's very important to understand, so that basically you wake up and you realize, I can't handle things. I can't handle things. So there's two questions to ask at that point. One, why? And two, what do you do about it? Because you're going to do something about it. If you can't handle something, you're going to run away. You can't handle something, you're going to manipulate. You're going to do something, aren't you? You're going to do something to make it more comfortable for you. Either make it more comfortable or make it less uncomfortable. How about if I told you that's all you've ever done every moment of your entire life? It's tried to either figure out or do things that you think will make it more pleasant for you inside and will make it less pleasant. There's not a moment of most people's lives that is not what they're doing. That is the intent and motive of their life. Buddhists talk about intent as everything, right? Well, don't talk about spiritual intent. I don't want to go off there. I want to come down to reality. What is the intent of almost all of your actions? What is the intent? To do something outside to make it feel better inside. To do something outside so it doesn't feel worse inside. To think about what I can do later outside to make it better inside. to make good decisions now so that it will feel better later and not feel worse. Every single thing, isn't that amazing? Is based on the fact that I'm not okay in here, and I got to do things to try and do better, because the moments unfolding don't make me feel better if I just leave them alone. Okay, so I told you there's two things you can do about that, and this means to step back. Instead of just being a robot that's just acting based on that very, very selfish, to say the least, completely ego-driven situation, which is me. It's about me. It's about me getting it the way I need it to be so I'm okay inside, or get rid of it so I'm not worse inside. And don't be embarrassed. Don't you dare be embarrassed. It's called ego. Don't think ego is this boisterous, egotistical. No. Ego is, it's about me. Guess what? The universe is not about you. Is it? Okay, but the ego is. And there is this part inside, pretty much all of it so far, which is about, I'm not okay. What do I need to do to be okay? Who do I need to marry? How many children do I need to have? How do I change my job? How do I make this better? How do I lose weight? How do I look younger? What's that all about? What do I need to do to make it so that when I interact with the world and it comes in, it feels better and doesn't feel worse? Isn't it amazing that every day of your life, what toy do I need? How do I treat my sister? What happens here? Why don't I get the room? How come? Just everything. So you wake up, and like I said, first of all, how comfortable is that? It's terrible. It means you have to struggle all the time to try to be okay. Even when you are okay, and moments unfold that make you feel better, you worry that something will go wrong. You worry you're going to say something wrong, you're going to wear something wrong, you're going to smell wrong, you're going to eat your food wrong. Something's going to happen. Their parents won't like you, or their friends won't like you. There's just this total not okayness that even when you're okay, it's afraid it's going to change. When people say to me, no, I practice positive thinking. Why? Why do you practice positive thinking? Because if I don't, it's terrible in here. Okay, I'm glad you practice positive thinking. I'm not trying to take it away. The bottom line is, why are you not okay? Why do you need to have things be a certain way for you to be okay? And second of all, what to do about it? Do you go outside to try and make situations be a certain way? Or do you actually do this amazing thing called, I'm in here. I'm the conscious being. There is nobody else in there. That's what it means to step back. Do you understand? Your parents aren't in there. Your wife isn't in there. Your husband ain't in there. Your kids ain't in there. No one else is in there. Do you know that you 10 years ago isn't in there? There's just you in there. You who's receiving the input from the outside. The outside is there. It's coming in through your senses, and you're receiving it. And that's all that's going on. Now, that doesn't seem possible. That's all that's going on. That's all that's going on, isn't it? There's a moment unfolding in front of you, which is part of the world unfolding. It is coming in through your senses, and you, the consciousness, are experiencing it. I swear to you, that's all that is going on your entire life. Everything else is a mess you're making in there. I'm going to go, I never slow down. You know I don't. I want to know, do you get that? It's raining. What does that mean? It means water is falling from the sky. That's all it means. Water's falling from the sky. Not why do I have to rain on my birthday? Not doesn't know I want to go camping. No. It has nothing to do with that. The momentary reality is it is raining. It is cold. It is hot. It is humid. It is whatever. That's reality. How do you know it's raining? Because it comes in. What if you didn't have senses? You wouldn't know what's going on out there. I'll tell you, they're not senses. They're sensors. Your computer has sensors that lets it take in the outside world, doesn't it? So does your body. And because it has sensors, sight, hearing, taste, touch, smell, because it has sensors, when the world unfolds in front of you, how do I know the world's unfolding in front of me? It is, and you have sensors, and they pick it up, and they send it back, so your consciousness is aware of what is going on in front of you. Is it important what's going on in front of you? I don't have any problem saying no. Why? Because there's 700 billion zillion other things going on. Why is what's happening in front of me more important than what's happening next door? Or more important than what's happening on Mars? Or more important than what's happening anywhere at any spot in Einstein's time-space continuum? There is always something going on. But in front of you, there's just that going on. And I'm telling you, it's no different than anything else. It's just what's going on. I know it seems different to you, but that doesn't make it different. That's what's going on in Siberia right now in somebody's house. What they're saying to each other, fighting, is no different than what's going on in your house, especially if you're not there. Isn't it funny that the moment you get there, all of a sudden it's personal? All of a sudden now it matters. It's really funny. All right. So the reality is, this is life. The world is unfolding. Some of it unfolds in front of you. It comes in through your senses, and your consciousness, your awareness of being, is aware that happened. That's the end of it. It's that simple. It's that clean. Now the question becomes, what are you going to do about that? What are you going to do about the fact that it's raining? What are you going to do about the fact that it's cold? What are you going to do about the fact that somebody walked by you without saying hello? What are you going to do about the fact that the driver in front of you is driving 10 miles over the speed limit? What are you going to do about the reality of what's unfolding in front of you? Do you know what a great being does? Appreciate that I exist, that it exists, and this is the experience that I'm having. Or would you rather have no experiences? Would you rather just go into the vast majority of the universe, which is just blank, empty space, and not one of you would pick that? Not one. What do you have to pay to make sure that there are experiences unfolding in front of you every moment of your life? Zero. It happens to everybody. It will happen during your entire life. So you just look at it, it unfolds, you appreciate it, you honor it, you respect it. We'll talk about interacting with it. We're not doing that yet. I'm just painting you the picture of who you really are and what is really going on. What is really going on is you're a conscious being that is living inside a body that is made of the physical world, and it has senses that can pick up what's in front of you, and you don't have to pay for that. It's free of charge. Nice enough, it picks those up and sends them into you. Well, what is it that happened? What it is what happened. That's what happened. It comes in. There it is. Why is that a problem? It's not a problem. Do you think a light has trouble shining here or there or there or there or there or there? No, it's just a light. Well, consciousness does not have any trouble experiencing reality. I know you're not living that. We're going to discuss why. I just want to paint the picture of what it means to be clean. I'm in here. How'd you get there? I don't know. But you know you're in there, don't you? There is someone in there, the final receiver of what's being sent in. And you know that. Here's a couple of facts. I know I'm in here, and I know there's something going on out there. Why? Because I have senses, and they pick it up and send it back to me. That's it. What's the problem with that? Why are you anxious? Why are you scared? Why are you freaked out? Why are you needy? Why would you not like it? Why do you like it? What's going on? You're just experiencing reality. I know it's hard to hear, isn't it? Okay? All right. Now, why does it not seem like that? That's the deepest understanding that you can get, and we always discuss it. It's very important to get it on your everyday life. Because when the world comes in, ever since you're little, when you're born, when the world comes in, it doesn't always feel pleasant. I didn't say it felt pleasant. I didn't say it felt unpleasant. But we just say everything has its nature. So if you turn the corner and there's this beautiful sunset surprise folding in front of you with all these colors, how do you like that experience? It's just like any other experience, except when that one comes in, it's comfortable. You like it coming in, okay? It comes into your consciousness, and somehow consciousness feels warm and open. I told you what you say when that happens. It touched me to the depth of my being. That is about the most spiritual thing that anybody can say. I felt like I was in the presence of God. It was so beautiful. It blew me away. What does that mean? It means it came all the way in. That's called a true experience, a clean experience. The outside world did its thing. You didn't make it. You didn't know it was there. You didn't paint the sky. You didn't do anything. You didn't send out an order form on the web and vote. It's just, there it was. Had nothing to do with you. It came in, and you experienced it through your senses, just like everything else. But this one, when it came in, no resistance, no judging, just wow. And it touched you. It can do that, can't it? It touched you, and you just felt wonderful inside, way deep inside. 10 years later, you'll tell someone about the experience you had. It was that powerful an experience because it came all the way in. Do all of your experiences do that? No. What happens? There are some experiences, I would use the example of rattlesnakes, or weather can do it, tornadoes. Can different things happen out there that don't feel the same as turning the corner and seeing the sun setting? Yes. You didn't necessarily make those things happen any more than you made the sunset, but they have a different vibration. I'm going to talk quietly now. Everything has a vibration. A rattlesnake in front of you rattling 10 feet away, you got to be at least 10 feet away, is rattling 10 feet away, does not feel the same as a butterfly landing on your arm 1 inch away, does it? You didn't do that. You didn't do that. That's not you. You don't get to own that. That rattlesnake is intending to send out bad vibes. Do things give off vibes? Do they just have physical form, or do they also have energy vibrations? When those come in, they feel different, don't they? A great being honors and respects and appreciates all the different colors of the rainbow, all the different vibrations in the electromagnetic spectrum. It's like you go there and you say, well, that light color, I don't really like it. That's a little bit, no, over here, a little orange, a little red. A great being sits there and goes, wow. Because they all come in and they touch you at a deep place. You're completely open. What does it mean I'm open? It means when it comes in, it makes it back to me. There's nothing in between. So the whole thing, the physical event, the vibration, everything comes in through my senses, it passes through the system, it merges into my consciousness, and it's like, wow, even bad vibes. Somebody actually wrote me today, quoting when I quoted my Yog Shakti. She's the saint who brought us the Durga statue back in the 70s. Very, very, very high lady. She once turned to me. She didn't talk personally ever to anybody, right? But she just turned to me and said, Mickey, I said, yes, mother. She says, don't you just love when they yell at you? There's so much energy. So to her, she's just in there sucking in the vibes, right? There is energy when people yell. To her, that's just Shakti. It's coming in, no resistance. It's like, whoa, do it more. So being open means there is no resistance. There's nothing else in there except the experience coming in. What experience? The one that's out there. There's nobody judging it. Before it comes in, you don't know if you like it or not. There's no like or dislike outside. All right, I see you have trouble with that. There's not a single thing outside that you like or dislike. When it comes in, you decide to like it or not like it. Not out there. Who cares? You think the camera cares what thing a picture of? Consciousness does not care. Do you think the ocean cares when the rivers pour into it? Right? They just absorb it. Right? Consciousness just experiences the experience. It does not judge. What's there to judge? There's no basis for judgment. If you're going to judge that you like something or not like something, based on what? So being open, we're talking very deep here, being completely open is like seeing the sunset. Or somebody you really, really, really like coming up and hugging you exactly when you want to be hugged in just the right situation, and you melt. Have you ever melted? You don't like that, right? You like that stuff, don't you? All right? Why? Because you were open. Nothing judged. Okay? Now, same hug, different person that you don't even know. You don't feel so open, do you? In fact, you might say, I don't like that. In other words, the action outside is, well, now I'll make it even closer. Okay? That person who just hugged you, that you melted 15 seconds ago, hadn't yet told you that they're leaving you. And they fell in love with your best friend. 15 seconds later, if they said that, let's see him hug you. Is there a difference? There's no difference outside. Anybody taking a picture, I don't see any difference. It looks exact same. Person's coming up, same person, hugging the same person, same exact same, hug the same. What does that mean? Well, in one case, there was nothing. God, if you get this, you're getting a lot that I teach. There was nothing in there but you. There was you. This is what be here now means. It means there's nothing in there interfering with the experience. All that's going on in that moment is there is something unfolding. It is coming through my senses, and it is merging into my consciousness. That's what it feels like with the sunset. So it feels like before he said he's leaving you. It just melted into your whole being. Now, what if he says he's leaving you? What if anything happens? That you have a preconceived notion. Well, wait, what is that? I'm going to challenge every word I say. What is a preconceived notion? I thought there was just the outside world. That's not a preconceived notion. Coming in and merging into the consciousness. That's not a preconceived notion. Where in the world did a preconceived notion come from? Oh, now you're talking. This is what it means to be alive, to dare to question, to study. Here's what a preconceived notion means. I know this person. Does not be here now. This has got some history. And I've hung out with him. We've got a relationship and all this stuff going on. I now have in my mind, oh, I thought you said the only thing in there was consciousness. Well, I can develop a mind that holds on to things. And you certainly have done that. All right? So now I have a concept in my mind that this is my boyfriend or girlfriend. And I have a concept in my mind that this is how they're supposed to behave. I have a concept in my mind of what I like and what I don't like. And I have a concept in my mind of times they did things before that I didn't like and I don't want it to happen again. What is all that stuff? That's not the outside world unfolding, coming in and conscious experiencing it. So there really is other stuff in there. The only reason there's other stuff in there is because you put it there. There's not really anything else in there. There's just consciousness experiencing the unfolding of reality. But in the past, reality wasn't comfortable, perhaps. Your parents got divorced. Your sister hit you or took your bicycle or something happened. Things happen. And they come in and we resist. The consciousness doesn't open like the ocean does when it receives the river. The consciousness says, not on my watch. It's conscious. It can do whatever it wants. It has will, has free will. Free will comes from consciousness. Free will comes from consciousness. That is where the power inside comes from. That's the only thing in there. So what it does is it resists the experience so it doesn't come all the way in. You don't want it to come all the way in. I don't want that rattlesnake being the same as the hug. I didn't like the experience. Okay, but it happened. So I have to deal with it. But one way of dealing with it is to push it away inside. I can't push it away outside. It already happened. But I can push it away inside, can't I? Do any of you ever push things away inside because you don't want to fully feel them? I can't handle this. I can't believe this happened. I can't handle this. What is you can't handle? That which already happened. Well, that's a problem because it already happened and you'll never stop it from having happened, will you? But inside, I always end up talking about this because it's the most important thing, the essence of spirituality. Inside, I don't have to let it go all the way in. My consciousness can protect itself so it doesn't come in like the sunset or like the hug. Freud called it suppression. Suppression, repression, resistance, call it whatever you want. You do it all the time. You're in a rush, driver in front of you driving 10 miles an hour with the speed limit. How are you doing? I don't understand. It's just what's happening. If you can pass, pass. Nobody's saying you don't pass. But if you can't pass and you're there, enjoy it. Go a little slower. Meditate, breathe, enjoy the sunset. Why? Because there's nothing else you can do. But you don't do that, do you? You sit there and resist the experience. And if you ever see that car again 3 days from now, or even one that looks like that car, you change lanes. So you stored inside of you something that wasn't there before. A concept, a view, a preference, something that was made of mind, that this event came in and you held it inside. So now it's not clean inside. You're not open. Are you open now to the same car driving behind it tomorrow? No. You're resistant, aren't you? Because you resisted it yesterday, you'll feel resistance if you even think about it today. You don't even have to see the car. You might sit there and say, God, I'm driving to work. It's 8:15. I'm late, but I need some gas. But I don't want to stop, because if I stop, the time will be the exact time that I ran into that other person. I don't want to run. That's all kind of junk. There's fear and everything else in your mind. You make every decision based on what I want and what I don't want. Well, where did that come from? I just told you. That means you're not open. Like, the words we use are so powerful. What if somebody comes up to you? Let's see. Is she here? Yeah. She just got a brand new Tesla. So somebody comes up here to Bianca and says, hey, Bianca, do you mind if I take your car for a spin? Wait a minute. I thought mind was a noun. Will you mind? That's a verb. What does it mean when you use it as a verb? Here goes. Hey, Bianca, do you mind if somebody you don't know takes your car for a spin? And the answer is either, what does it mean? Will you mind? Do you mind? Is, will your mind go, oh my God, of course not. That's ridiculous. I'm not going to let them have my car. Or will your mind say, sure. Therefore, no, I don't mind. I will not do this verb called minding. Isn't that neat? In other words, that voice in my head will not go crazy. But thank you for asking. That was very respectful that you asked, will my mind go crazy if you take my car? And I will try to figure it out, right? So we're in there using our mind, which is a brilliant thing we have use of inside, to store what we don't like, to store the things that happen in our life that are not comfortable. And so we push them down and we hold them, and anyone you ever held will now get stimulated when anything reminds it of it, and you will not be open. The minute you store even one of those things, even one, I like everything in the universe except rain at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, you're dead. It'll determine where you live, determine you go to Arizona where it rains less, determine what time zone you live in. You will make every decision based on that one samskara, that one pattern you stored inside. You were not open for it to rain whenever it wanted to rain, were you? Now you own the rain. Isn't that amazing? Because you stored this thing as negative, it will then run your life. Even just one of them, and you have way more than one. You have built entire concepts of how everybody should be, about what should be, how your boss should be, what kind of finances should be, how the weather should be, every single thing. If you go to Hawaii on your vacation, do you have any concept of what it's going to be like? Did you expect there to be tornadoes and floods and the rest of the stuff that goes on in Hawaii? No. How are you going to be when you get there? Terrible. No, it's not supposed to be like this. Somebody else went there, a meteorologist or something like that, and said, oh my God, I get to see a volcano. Everybody hits it different, don't they? All right? But not you. You stored in your mind a preconceived notion of what is supposed to go on. How about if I say it that way? And when the world unfolds, you are not open to letting it come in and touch you. Only if it matches what you stored inside. That is the cause of all suffering. That is the cause of wars. That is the cause of entire disharmony that could ever exist on this planet, is that you did that, but so did everybody else. And there's no way in the world that anybody actually agrees with you. Why? Because you made up your preferences based on your past experiences. If you never experienced anything, you don't have a preference about it. But if you had an experience in the past and you stored stuff about it, you have a preference. Well, why are you saying nobody has the same stuff inside as me? Because everybody had different experiences. The one thing that I've seen your eyes open up that you get, do you understand that no one that has ever lived or ever will has had the same experiences you had? Come on, take a minute. No one. There's 8.3 billion people on the planet Earth right now. Not one of them has had the same sequence of experiences that you've had. Even this person sitting right next to you, they won't be when you go to put your shoes on, or when you get into your car, they'll sit shotgun, you'll sit over here. Everybody's having different experiences all the time. And same thing with your husband, kids, anybody, your lover. Don't even kid yourself. They have not had the same experiences as you, therefore they have different preferences, different concepts, different views, different opinions. Isn't that amazing? You're getting a unique view that no one ever had or ever will of the experiences of life. And what do? Complain. Why? Because you stored the stuff inside. And because you stored the stuff inside, you're only okay inside when it comes in and makes it through nicely, and you get to have this beautiful experience, which sometimes you do, because it matches. The only time you feel love is if everything's just right. There's no way you feel love if somebody's saying something you don't like, or if you don't trust them. Like, you got to be open, don't you, to feel love. So it has nothing to do with the person. It has to do with your openness. So basically, we're not open. We've stored all these concepts and views and opinions and preferences and hopes and dreams. All right? First, I painted the picture of being open. You saw what it would be like if just everything came in, the reality came in, and it washed over you. You experienced it. It was an unbelievable experience. But not everything's nice. I always use the example, even in the new book I use it, okay? You ever seen Romeo and Juliet? You're all exposed to the play Romeo and Juliet, all right? What if the finest troupe that ever could be came down here and put on a showing of Romeo and Juliet that was so unbelievable that it ripped your heart out? That when that happened at the end and they just missed and all that terrible tragedy. It's a tragedy. It's not a love story. It's a tragedy. Shakespeare wrote a tragedy. And when that tragedy took place, your heart hurt so bad, you cried and everything. What do you do about that? You go see it again and you bring your friends. How come? Because it's real. Because it touches you to the depth of your being. You feel it's rich. You feel something really deep. Whatever happens in your life. Are you kidding me? Get that away from me. All right? So it's not the vibration. It's the willingness to let it touch. To come in and touch. You're not avoiding things. You're not trying to make it different. A great being is honoring and respecting reality. It is coming in. Sadness is coming in. Joy is coming in. Everything's coming in. And it's passing right through. And there it is. There's the experience. I had this experience. You're not storing it inside. Why would you store yesterday's experience inside? It means you can't experience today's. And that's how you live, don't you? Because you stored all your past experiences inside, you can't be here now. This be here now thing, very few people understand it. You can't be here now. Why? Because you're busy trying to make now match what you stored inside. Well, you told me you loved me yesterday and it didn't sound the same today. Please, can you say it again? So that's what's happened, is you stored yesterday and every other yesterday inside. And so now you're not okay because you stored all that stuff inside. You're supposed to be empty in there. It's supposed to be able to come in and experience. Now again, I guarantee you, I will not finish until I tell you, if I'm empty, how do I interact? Why would I interact? Now I know how to interact to get what I want. I told you that's what you're doing. You understand that? I know exactly how to interact with everybody. Try to make them be the way I want them to be and to get what I want and avoid what I don't want. That's my motive. Well, what if I'm empty inside and everything comes in and it's just all washing over me and I'm experiencing and grokking the whole life? Oh, what a full life you're experiencing. You're having the richest life that ever was. Why would I act? Why would I do anything? Why would I get out of bed? I said I'll do it later. Might as well do it now. All right? Because when you have an experience like the sunset and it touches you to the depth of your being, you feel joy. You feel love. You feel open. You feel Shakti. You feel inspiration. Maybe you want to go out and paint it. Maybe you want to go out and share, tell people about it. In other words, just because you're open doesn't mean there's not a motive for action. The motive for action is love, is beauty, is inspiration. When you fall in love, really, really fall in love, and you're blown away every time you see the person or every time you hug or something like that, right? You don't then not see them. You don't then say, okay, I'm done. That was nice. This is the most love I ever felt in my whole life. Thanks, George. You don't do that, do you? Why? Because love wants to express itself. Inspiration wants to express itself. Passion wants to express itself. Not to get something, but because the energy is flowing inside and it comes out and expresses itself. Can you imagine that you are so full of that energy that when you wake up in the morning, you can't wait to go to work? To do what? It doesn't matter. To do something, to express yourself, to go there and find a way to take all this beautiful love, this beautiful inspiration, this beautiful energy, and do whatever your work is. Well, what if I'm an accountant? And be a really good one. What if I'm a football player? Be the best that you can possibly be. Be a GOAT. That's the greatest of all time. So basically, you do your best at everything you're doing. Well, what if I am an accountant and I make mistakes? I just do the best I can and I make mistakes. So what? The joy is in doing the best that you can to express yourself. Go play golf. You want the ball, go in the hole, pick it up and put it in the hole. No, the meaning is in creating obstacles and doing the best you can to overcome the obstacles. So is all of life. So is your job, so is your relationship, so is everything. When you're filled with love and passion and just expression, inspiration, that's what life's like. When always. But it was hard. Good. You don't want it to be easy. But I was moving along and then my employees were working with me and then all of a sudden they didn't like me and they started talking against me. Good. That's like a sand trap. I'm serious. It's like you're not there to win. There's no win. You're there to express the beauty that's inside of you. So it's not that you're not going to act. You're always acting. You're acting with tremendous passion, but you're acting to give what you have inside to whatever's in front of you. Not I'm acting because I'm not okay inside, and I need to manipulate the moment in front of me so that I can feel better inside. I'm not playing golf to go down there and do the best I can. I'm playing to be number one. Everybody passes in the back. Good job. God, you're the best. That's all right. Then you're doing it for you. Good luck, because the moment you're number two, I told you, Forbes has this list called the richest people in the world. If you're number one on that list 1 year and you're number two the next year, you feel bad. Don't you dare think they don't feel bad, because they need that to feel good. Even though they have billions of dollars, they're not okay. So they need to prove themselves. They need to be the best. They need to do all kinds of stuff so that they can feel good about what's going on. Why? Because they don't feel good. If you do what we're talking about and you understand that the reason you're screwed up, and we all are, is because you screwed yourself up. You stored all your problems from yesterday inside, so they're there now today. So when you interact with today, you will not be interacting with today. You will be doing it based upon the problems you had yesterday. You know, you'd said you loved me. I believed you. But then this morning, it didn't seem like you loved me. You were in a rush, and you didn't even give me a little kiss, even on the cheek or anything. And I messed up my whole day. And so now when you come home, I'm not neutral. I have a way you need to be to make up for what you did this morning or didn't do this morning. Either did or didn't do. That's up to me. Now you understand what open means. It means you don't have this garbage in there. And if you don't have the garbage in there, every single moment that comes in is rich. Not positive or negative, just rich. Well, what if somebody you really, really love dies? I mean, it's just a giggle? Of course you don't giggle. You didn't giggle at Romeo and Juliet. So you don't giggle because somebody you love died. You feel deep sorrow. You know what that sorrow is saying? I love you. You don't feel sorrow if you don't know the person. It's just another way of saying I love you. The problem is you resist. I don't want to feel it. I don't like this feeling of loss. What if you didn't judge? Then you still feel the feeling of loss. But it's rich, isn't it? It's deep. I tell you guys, the funeral march, remember? Dun, 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 dun. Kind of sad. Was written by Chopin, one of the great composers of all time. He captured what it felt like to have that going on. And it's a very famous piece. It's played all the time. Okay? That's what it means to be open. You let whatever it is come in and bathe you. And you become a learner of this. I don't know how to say it. You're so rich. Your life is so rich, it's ridiculous. And guess what? You're fearless. Why would I be fearless? Because you know you can handle no matter what happens. How would you like that? How would you like to know that no matter what happens for the rest of your life, you're fine? Doesn't mean what you want to happen happened. It doesn't mean what you don't want to happen didn't happen. It means no matter what happens, you know you're going to be okay. Wow, that's a rich life, isn't it? This is what it means to be open. Maybe that's what we're talking about. We talked about stepping back from the neurosis of every moment having to be a certain way. And I laid the groundwork for a very easy way as to how to do this. Okay, you must admit it'd be very nice to get to that state where you just know you're fine, you feel fine, and just bring it on. Come on, bring it on. It's like a sport. The worst that can happen is it's hard, and I love it. It's challenging. A sport that's challenging is really good. People want to play against somebody who's as good or better than they are so they can get better. That's what life is. There's nothing wrong. There's no obstacles. There's just encouraging moments to dig down and do better. But we don't. We block it, and so we make it a mess inside so that we can't experience the reality that's happening outside with openness. I don't want to say with joy, but with openness. Okay? And so what's the solution? Well, believe it or not, I've already told you the solution because I told you why it's that way. It's that way inside because you stored stuff inside. You stored yesterday inside so you can't experience today. And I said yesterday, it goes back to high school. It goes back to kindergarten, doesn't it? It goes pretty far back. What mommy did, what daddy did. First boyfriend, how was the first boyfriend, the first girlfriend? Ever been dumped? That helped a lot, didn't it? Ever been rejected? Ever had kids get around and talk against you? Yeah, and you couldn't handle it. So you stored it. Is it still in there? You know it's still in there. So what's the answer? Don't store this stuff inside. Don't not experience it, but learn not to store it inside. How? Because now I've stored so much stuff that whatever's happening hits the stuff I stored. It's really complicated. I'm not open. I'm full of concepts and views and opinions and preferences and hopes and dreams. So now everything that happens hits those. So what do? You little by little take on the task, the sport of cleansing. That is what spirituality is. Does meditation help? Of course it does. Mantra help? Of course it does. All these things, all these techniques that you're taught, they help. But when it's said and done, what it's about is cleansing. Is letting go of what you stored inside from the past so you're able to be here now in the present. And you're not going to be able to do it with will. You're not going to be able to say, I have all this stuff inside, I'll suppress it, I'll push it away, I'll deny it, I'll ignore it, I'll do whatever, and I'll just be here now. No, you will not. You're busy being there then with that stuff. It has to come out. It has to be released. It has to not be in there. Wow. There's a sport for you. Spirituality is a sport. It's the ultimate sport. In India, they say that all of life is God's Leela. And if you translate Leela, most of them who translate out of the Sanskrit very deep, they don't say it's God's dance. They say it's God's sport. That the closest thing to that is God's sport. So you come into this moment, and here's how you do it. And every one of you are capable of doing it. Don't try to get rid of the big stuff that's already down there. I mean, you can go to a therapist, you can do techniques, you can do whatever you want, but there's a lot down there. You get rid of one, there's plenty more. So what do? Instead of training the stuff, one of the things to cleanse, you train you who put it down there. I told you, will, it comes from consciousness. It comes from your presence to your being. You resist from a very deep place inside. Train yourself to not resist. And what will happen is you start doing it with the driver in front of you. You start doing it with the weather. You start doing what somebody said, what somebody didn't say. Little things. I don't want you touching the big things because you're not able to. They're down there because you couldn't handle them. And when they come back up, you push them back down. Don't you? Go home and visit your parents. Go visit your ex-husband, okay? Have your ex-husband drop off the kids after his weekend, or your ex-wife. How you doing? The stuff comes up, doesn't it? And it's not easy to not. You have to learn what to do when you're dealing with the stuff. You don't do that with the big things. You don't play Borg and the Williams sisters when you're first learning tennis. You just take simple things. So the same thing with this. You start off by saying, I'm going to wake up in the morning and I'm going to handle the day. Not the past. I'm going to handle what unfolds today. That's your golf game. I'm going to handle the sand traps, whatever it is, okay? And I'm going to handle if somebody hit the ball way further than me and I thought I was a good ball hitter. All the stuff that's going to come up today, don't worry, it'll come up, won't it? Just that stuff, I'm going to neutralize that. How do you neutralize it? You can use positive thinking. You can sit there and say, oh, the driver in front of me is driving slow. They're probably old. Maybe this is the last year they'll get to drive. I'm not going to tailgate them. It could be my grandmother. You can use positive thinking to neutralize this garbage that you stored inside. I told you, if it's really hot out, that one I like. I'm sorry, I like it a lot. I learned to do it. You see, I don't have any trouble with that stuff anymore, all right? It's really hot out. I'm sweating. I say, hello in there. Shh, hello, you in there. Talk to him. You should talk to him. Hi, why is it hot? Well, the sun is out. What do you mean? Well, there's a sun up there, and it's shining down. It's making it hot. How far away is the sun? 93 million miles. That's how far away is Miami? 360. 93 million. 360. If all of Miami caught fire, you would not feel it up there. That's 93 million miles away. And it's so hot that you feel it so much that you're complaining about it. So that's a start. That's pretty neat. So it's kind of a neat thing, all right? Then you sit there and say, is it really the sun? No, it's a star. You're telling me you are so close to a star that you feel its heat from 93 million miles away? That's pretty neat, isn't it? You do not get sunburn. You get star burned. And that star is one of 300 billion in your galaxy. And there are 2 trillion galaxies. And you're close enough to one star to complain about the heat. Wow. You know what that star's telling you? Look up, pay attention. I'm one of 300 billion in one galaxy. Come on, man, there's a universe out here. That's what you do. You make a game out of it. You play. All of a sudden then you turn. I do it all the time. Now where I am, in town, anything, I'll just stop and face the star and let it shine down on me. And wake up and realize I'm sitting on a little planet, spinning in the middle of nowheres. I always teach you 1.3 million Earths fit inside that star. That's where you're standing. And there's this giant thing out there 93 million miles away, and it's shining down. There are things you can do to neutralize so that you can then enjoy the experience. If it's the car driving in front of you, now you're being nice. It's grandma. It's somebody's grandma. And I'm not going to beep. And you start feeling good about yourself. That I can be patient enough to give somebody the respect of driving the way they want. I drive the way I want. They're driving the way they want. You look at the sun. All of a sudden now you're open. It's exciting. You can do that with everything. Somebody's yelling at you. You can sit there and say, if you're quiet enough, you can handle it. You're quiet enough saying, look at that. They're throwing energy out. It's hitting all my stuff. Daddy used to yell at me. First husband yelled at me. This is far out. It's like popcorn in there. You're having a good time. Don't tell them you're going to have a good time. They'll just yell more. But you're in there. You can do this, can't you? This is called raising yourself, lifting yourself up on a daily basis. It's not just meditation that evolves you spiritually. It's getting rid of this stuff you stored inside. And as you learn to do with these everyday little things, what's happening is you in there are learning to handle things that you couldn't handle before. Instead of having to deal with each individual thing that you stored, it's now you who stored it that doesn't need to store it anymore. That's growth. The greatest growth I ever heard anybody tell me is they said, I was at work today, and I didn't realize it when I was driving home. Things happened at work that would have freaked me out before, even last year. I hardly noticed that they even happened. That's growth. You learn to be able to be okay with more things, with more reality. And then what's going to happen, you can do with bigger things, then bigger things. And pretty soon stuff's going to start coming up by itself. Uh-oh. Not oh. Oh, boy. Why? I don't want it in there. It's what's keeping me from being open. So if it needs to come up, I welcome it. But what if it hurts? I welcome the hurt. But what if it really hurts? I welcome the really hurt. But what if it hurts so much that I have to resist it? Well, you did your best. You took a shot. You missed that putt. You try another one. You can't go wrong. Now your intent is not to make everybody and everything match my garbage. Now the intent is to get rid of my garbage. And don't worry, they will help you. I guarantee you, the whole of life, it'll be like, oh my God, it knows just what to do to hit my stuff. And the next thing you know, you're a cleansing machine. And your entire purpose of your life is letting go of this garbage. And as you let it go and have less, you become more open. Because you have less stored in there. And the more open you are, the more things that pass through. Now you're on an upward spiral instead of a downward spiral. So that's what it means to step back and look at your life. Otherwise, you're going to be running your life based on that garbage, based on finding things that make you feel good even though you're full of garbage, based on avoiding things that make you feel bad. It will just run everything. But you have the ability to free yourself, to liberate yourself, to become a really great being. All right? Work on these things. Jagged.